What's up, sports maniacs? I'm Justin Walters, and this is All Sorts of Sports. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to talk about the little wardrobe thing I got going on right now. So if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, it's at All Sorts of Sports on Instagram. Link is down below, so check that out. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I posted a picture of myself wearing this hat and this sweatshirt with the hood underneath the baseball hat there. Actually, you know what? Here's the picture right here. And the caption for this picture that you're seeing right now said, "I'm starting a new fashion trend. It's called the Minnesota Baseballer." I really think that this fashion trend has a possibility to be one of the biggest trends in the year of the 2018. I really think that I'm going somewhere with this fashion trend. So if you wanna hop on the fashion trend bandwagon here, it has a chance. Be one of the first one to join. If you ever do try out the look, make sure to put the picture on Instagram, tag me on Instagram so I can also share it on my page. The reason I call it the Minnesota Baseballer is because it's freaking cold in Minnesota right now. It was like the coldest Christmas in like 20 years, I think they said. So it's been really cold, but I still want to play some baseball, so I got the baseball hat. But I gotta keep my ears warm. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get started with today's episode. Today's episode has to deal with a lot, a huge story that broke the other weekend. And this story actually comes from an ex-NBA basketball player. An ex-NBA basketball player by the name of Lorenzen Wright. Wright was drafted in the first round of the NBA draft and ended up playing 13 seasons in the NBA. Now, Wright was actually killed back in July of 2010. His body was actually found in a swampy field outside of Memphis with multiple bullet wounds. At the time that he was murdered, he was 34 years old, and police were unable to actually figure out who killed him, and it became Memphis's biggest cold case. So for years, we've had this cold case of this ex-NBA player who was murdered, and we have no idea by who. Well, on December 16th of 2017, the Memphis police came out and said that they actually have 2 indictments for that case. And here's the most scary, shocking, crazy part of this whole thing. One of them was actually Wright's ex-wife. Wright's ex-wife was actually taken into custody in California, and she was charged with conspiring with a Memphis area man to kill her ex-husband. She was indicted on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and attempted first-degree murder. Now, during a press conference with the Memphis police, they actually said that they are unsure what the motive was behind the killing, but the very possible theory is that it was possibly because Wright had a $1 million life insurance policy. And back in 2014, Wright's ex-wife was actually going through a lawsuit because she ended up spending the $1 million that was supposed to be dispersed between Wright's 6 kids. So it's very likely that he was actually murdered so that his ex-wife could actually take the $1 million, and instead of dispensing it to their 6 children, she actually kept it for herself and ended up spending all of it. The Memphis police also said during that press conference that there may also be other individuals that are linked to the murder of Lorenzen Wright. So if we go back to the night of the murder, this is what actually happened the night that he was killed. On July 18th, 2010, that was when Wright was last seen. He was last seen visiting his children who currently lived at his ex-wife's house. And then during the early hours of July 19th, a 911 call was actually made from Lorenzen Wright's phone. However, that 911 call was actually interrupted by gunfire. Now, the police department in Germantown, which is a suburb of like the Memphis area, they were the ones who actually took the 911 call, and they failed to notify the Memphis police for days. And the reason they actually didn't notify the police right away, or it took them a few days to actually do it, was because the exact location from where Wright was calling from couldn't actually be pinpointed. But then finally on July 22nd, Wright's mother actually reported him missing. And after the Memphis Police Department investigated the case for a little bit, they were actually able to pinpoint the tower that the cell phone was made off of. They were able to tell what cell tower actually transmitted the 911 call to the Germantown Police Department. This ultimately led to them locating Wright's body on July 28th, which I said earlier was found in like a really like swampy kind of area. Like I said, this was one of Memphis's biggest cold case, and it was 100% like completely cold until this past fall, actually, when Memphis police discovered something that was a huge breakthrough for them. So the investigators of the case were actually given a tip about a lake that was near the location where Wright's body was actually found. Now, obviously, when they first found Wright's body, they did check this lake to see if there was any evidence or anything there. But when they initially checked it, it was actually searched by like their local kind of department. This past fall, they actually called in an FBI dive squad. That FBI dive team actually found a pistol that was used during the murder of Lorenzen Wright. That pistol was actually found on November 9th. And like I said, that pistol was examined, and it finally determined that, yes, that was one of the weapons used to kill Wright. So further evaluation of the weapon is kind of what led police to find the man who actually murdered him, and which ultimately led to his ex-wife paying him and hiring him to actually kill her ex-husband. Now this case is it's unreal. When it came out, I want to say I said December 16th, when it was first announced that she had been arrested in California for the connection of the murder of her ex-husband. My jaw literally just dropped. I mean, this is something that is like, this is like a Stephen King novel, and like, or something that you see on TV, but actually hearing it happen to an NBA player, a sports figure, is insane. However, it has been a long time that the case has been cold, but finally, Wright's family, they actually are able to finally get some closure, and they actually know what happened to Wright now. Now, the way that the press conference was kind of went about with the Memphis Police Department, I would almost guarantee that they know of or have a very strong lead of other individuals that were also involved with the killing of Wright. This case is obviously not yet over, but it definitely gives some clarity to the family that they know what happened, and they know for a fact that his ex-wife, who was kind of the mastermind of the whole deal, is actually being charged, and she's not just running free anymore. This is a crazy story, and I'm in shock at what happened. It's unbelievable. Condolences to Wright's family. I'm glad that they got closure, which is what they needed. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Just wanted to hit because it was such a story that you don't typically hear about with our NBA or with the sport figures. And I really wanted to kind of touch on that story. I thought it was really interesting. I'm definitely going to keep up to date on kind of the court trial of the whole thing. If anything crazy happens, I will be sure to update you guys. But I want to thank you for watching this episode of All Sorts of Sports. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing at this channel. Also, be sure to show me pictures of this new trend that I got going on. It's pretty sweet. I know you're probably mad that you didn't think of it first, but you can join the trend early if you want to. In the description below are going to be links to my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where I'm constantly putting out content. If you want more of All Sorts of Sports, be sure to go ahead and follow those. And that's going to do it for this episode. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.
I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.